Hello, Westmoreland Sports Network fans. My name is Hannah Mears, and boy, am I excited. Everyone who tunes into Westmoreland Sports Net knows we love to talk about the sport of wrestling, and I am alongside two gentlemen who are changing the game completely. Kyle Martin, current head coach at Norwin High School, and Jarrod King as well. They have just created something called the Knights RTC. It's a regional training center, one of the only in the country and the first ever on the East Coast, we learned. So very, very exciting news for all of our wrestling fans out there. And first and foremost, to give our guests some credibility, Jarrod, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi. Nice to be on here. Thanks for having us. I appreciate it. Thanks for spreading the word on everything here. But yeah, I'm Jarrod King. I'm assistant coach with Kyle at Norwin High School right now. We're starting the RTC. I have a long history of wrestling all my life, most of it with Kyle, growing up as little kids. So we got to know each other well all the way up through the junior Olympic ranks and junior high school, where I was a two-time state champ for Connellsville High School. Went on, wrestled at Oklahoma. Unfortunately, had some injuries there and moved on to Edinburgh, where I became a two-time All-American and national champion for them. So hoping to be able to continue to spread some of that wrestling knowledge to Norwin, along with any other wrestlers in the region with this regional training center.
Well, we are pleased to have you, Jarrod. Yes, these are two of the coaches, Westmoreland Sportsnet, that we see frequently when we're covering Norwin wrestling. So it's great to familiarize yourself with them. And our second guest here today, Mr. Kyle Martin, who has made a splash in the high school wrestling scene this year. Always fun to follow all the social content you guys put out as well. Kyle, please introduce yourself a bit further for our guests tuning in.
Hi, everyone. Again, thanks for having us on. I know you're super busy with everything. You're all over the place covering stuff, so it's pretty cool you're taking time out for this. So I'm just continuing like my life journey of just seeing Jarrod and trying to grab onto the back of his shirt and let him drag me to whatever we can. We grew up together. It was awesome, and I never really got over the hump of being good at wrestling until I started being Jarrod's partner in high school. And I was like, he's beating me up every day, but I have no choice to get better. So I was like, that's got to be a good game plan in life. Whatever Jarrod does, I'm just going to try to latch on and do that. But I'm the head coach at Norwin. It was our first year this year. We're going into our second year. None of the stuff that we're doing is possible without the support system we have at Norwin, which is like phenomenal. The parents, the boosters, we have awesome athletic directors. I mean, when one of your athletic directors' last name is Phipps, I mean, like the wrestling, it's got to get a little bump for that. But just for me, I'm a USA Gold coach, and I'm the head coach for Pennsylvania's national team in the cadet age group. So that's pretty much it. And now we're just trying to keep expanding wrestling in our area, in our region. So.
Yes, and congrats on all the cadet success this year as well. It was really fun to follow along with that. Wrestling fans, if you haven't seen that, please go look it up, rewatch some matches and look up the results because it is very much something to be proud of. But even more so exciting maybe right now and groundbreaking in the world of wrestling is the Knights RTC. You just posted on Twitter not too long ago that, hey, we're creating the Knights Regional Training Center. I know a lot of people probably are familiar with regional training centers, especially after the COVID year and seeing all the events that the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club had, the Pitt Wrestling Club had. I mean, those are just some in our area, but there were so many more than that. So for those who may not be as familiar about what an RTC is, Jarrod or Kyle, can you explain what an RTC is, what it aims to do, and how it's even possible to support the athletes who seek to be a part of it?
Jarrod, you want me to jump on first?
Yeah, go ahead. You jump on that.
All right. So basically an RTC is a regional training center. USA Wrestling started this a few years ago to try to improve us on the world level. Coach Jones out of Arizona State was kind of like the mastermind behind this of getting opportunities for athletes to train solely in freestyle and Greco-Roman throughout the year, give them opportunities to find funding, give them opportunities to train at world-class levels more often than just outside of folks house seasons. Basically, it is athlete-centered. We want to give an opportunity or an environment for athletes to train past their collegiate career and hopefully make livings out of the sport while they're training, and hopefully build their brands up to where they can look into more career-driven based off of wrestling instead of maybe falling into other career fields. So what we're doing with our regional training center is kind of unique because it's going to be at a high school, but it's ultimately the same objective. We just want to give more opportunities to athletes in our region, which is that 250-mile radius around Irwin that can come in and train. We have Jarrod King involved. Who doesn't want to come and train and learn from an NCAA champion? So it's a pretty cool protocol with the USA Wrestling RTCs. So that's in general what it is. But like you said, they got really popular the last year because of COVID, because they were able to host these phenomenal events and duels. So.
Yeah, I think that's a detailed description. It really breaks down what it is and what it's aiming to do. And the simplest definition, I always like to tell you, you watch the NFL, you watch the NHL, the MLB, and this is where our wrestlers get a chance to be professionals and get paid and have a career in their sport post-collegiate, which in previous years, long ago, it really wasn't an option. Once you were done with college, there wasn't a ton of opportunities. Now they're exploding, which is why I think the future of the sport may be in the secret of these RTCs. So it's even more incredible that such a heavy wrestling area like Westmoreland County gets to have its very own RTC alongside the Pitt RTC is also here. So giving as many possible places to train, just making this accessible for athletes is so, so important. But I know for the both of you, this has not just popped up in a day like it has on our Twitter feeds. This has probably been a long process of dreaming about it, trying to make it happen, and finally getting to announce it to the world. So how long has this been in the process, and whose idea was it originally?
Yeah, and just to be clear, I've also been riding Kyle's coattail for a while here too. He keeps bringing up that he's riding mine. That couldn't be farther from the truth, first of all. but yeah, I mean, we kind of got together on this while we were coaching and talking about club stuff and being able to expand. And one of the main things that I think where we're trying and where we came up with wanting to do this more is giving our guys more and more opportunities to get some of those other guys in here to train and get some of those top level college coaches and college athletes in there to train and get our guys exposure to that. Like you said, and Kyle touched on it earlier, is this didn't happen overnight. And we honestly didn't have plans of having it to this point right now, this early in the stage. But again, we have great support at Norwin where some of the parents and boosters that are right on board with these things that helped with the paperwork and all the behind the scenes stuff that we didn't know exactly how to get it done initially. So these guys, can't thank them enough for all the work that they put in, and it wouldn't be possible without them.
So you kind of said that this happened fairly quickly then, like quicker than expected because of all the support you've had throughout the community. I guess in this pilot year, what are some of your expectations then? If things are already off to a strong start, I mean, exceeding, what are your expectations, Kyle?
I guess we don't know. Obviously, we're not good at planning things. We started out, we were looking down the road of what we wanted to do with the Norwin program, what we wanted as an end goal. And we were like, oh, maybe RTC eligibility in 4 or 5 years. It's 8 months, right? We've been here 8 months, 9 months, and we got there. And again, it goes back to the support and everything like that. But then our wrestlers had to compete at a pretty high level to get us RTC eligible athletes and get us to pass that cutoff line to where we can get it. So our athletes are phenomenal too. So I think the expectation to start off is we don't know. we're going to see what happens. We've been snowballing ideas and brainstorming where we can take this, and we can open up some camps to bring in senior level athletes to hopefully help them, give them some different training looks, training partners, and then also give those senior level athletes opportunities to run their own camp at Norwin, and then we can have athletes come in to learn from those athletes as well. So it's almost win-win, right? We get to bring in those athletes, so we win. The athletes get to come in and train, they win, and then our youth and middle school athletes that can't go to these practices can come in for camps. So it's as long as we're doing the things right for the athletes, I think that's all the expectation is. That's the whole focus of this is we want to give our athletes in Norwin and in our region opportunities to develop in the sport. So where hopefully down the road, these world teams, these Olympic teams are primarily Pennsylvania athletes, and then primarily hopefully like a Westmoreland County Olympic team. That'd be cool, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, how hard could it be? Right. But that's we don't really have expectations for it. We're just going to have fun with it and keep pushing the bar as far as we can. If we fail, it happens. We keep moving. And I think we need to do that because our athletes deserve it. And if we're not doing that, I don't think we're doing a disservice to the athletes, to the parents in the area, to our region, because this is the hotbed of wrestling in the United States. So we want to just provide as many opportunities for growth and development as possible.
And I think it was a good point to throw in there as well for people who are still a bit unfamiliar for the opportunities that are presented to these athletes is they can train and aim toward Olympic titles, but in the meantime, they can also be businessmen themselves and run their own camps and know what it's like to, maybe I fall in love with the coaching side of thing and I'm really getting the experience through this. So it's not just something for these men and women to be involved in as an athlete, but as an entrepreneur as well, and perfect their craft in the sport from a widespread point of view. And I think that's what helps the sport grow long-term overall. But you two will also be involved in this in such an integral way as the head coach and associate head coach. Jarrod, explain what your main role will be involved in the Knights RTC.
So, I mean, hopefully everything that Kyle's saying there is, hey, we want to bring these guys in. Our first goal and main goal to begin with is give our guys opportunities. I know that's one of the questions that came up when I was talking to some people about it. And hey, why RTC over club? Why go through the hassle of it? And it's, well, if we can get one kid noticed different by a college coach that comes in, that's this kid's RTC eligible and he gets a better opportunity, that's a step in the right direction. Or if we get one guy, I mean, like we were talking, is we have the hotbed of wrestling right here in our backyard. If we can get one guy who's needs a place to come in and train, and he's done post-college years, and he needs a little extra money, and we're able to get him on staff, and we're getting him in here coaching and bringing people in and continuing to expand, then hey, we did a good job. My role, I guess, is to see that keeps moving forward. And I think as the RTC evolves, our roles will continue to evolve. Mm-hmm. Right now, our main goal is get these guys on the mat as much as we can and get them exposure to as many people as we can. As many good people in this sport as there is, we can get a few of them into our room and get them to impress upon our athletes. That's what we're looking for right now. But I think as hopefully we continue to evolve, as Kyle was saying, and keep moving forward to where we can give them even more opportunities. And at that point, my position will continue to evolve to where I'm working harder and harder to give them those opportunities. So I think that's, again, a little open-ended where it could change a lot.
The possibilities are endless. But
Exactly.
kind of the same question to you, just redirected a little bit of, you're the head coach at the high school program. And I know a lot of people's questions probably are going to be, how are these guys going to manage balancing all of this? Where are your roles going to be? Where does this differ? Where do you draw the line? When are things happening? I know a lot of open-endedness, but in any way possible, can you maybe explain to people what that's going to look like?
Yeah, here's the great part about it. Coach Jarrod, Coach King can validate this. We just love wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing what we love to do throughout, whether it's our Knights RTC practice, whether it's our middle school practice, jumping into a youth practice, or our varsity practice. We're wrestling, and we just want to open up the doors, as many doors as possible for our athletes, and hopefully we can guide them and just kind of help them find whatever their definition of success is. And that always isn't just wrestling, right? We have some kids in Norwin with gigantic goals. Not all of them involve wrestling. So we want to make sure that we're helping them on that journey as best we can. And we want to get them, like Coach said, exposed to as many people as we can, build as many relationships as we can. So I think just, it's a cool balance. I get to almost take off the head coaching hat while being in Norwin with some of the stuff that you have to do as head coach with the freestyle and Greco stuff. And I can kind of take a step back. Obviously, Jarrod's unbelievably smart, so I'm going to listen to him. Whatever he tells me to do, I'm definitely going to do it.
Other way. Listening to him.
The hat flip in the RTC, right? As opposed to high school.
Yeah, absolutely. So it just stems down to everything we do. We enjoy the sport. We enjoy being around the athletes. And we're going to do anything we can to help them be successful. Whether they want to be the next Jarrod King that's an NCAA champion, or they want to be the next David Taylor that's winning an Olympic gold, whether they want to be a brain surgeon. We're going to help them, not so much in the brain surgery thing. I think we'll probably pass them on to learned doctors, but for us, well, Jarrod could do that too, actually. So
no, nowhere near that.
Jarrod, part-time brain surgeon as well.
Oh. That's basically the roles. Is we're both driven and kind of motivated to help our athletes find their level of success or their definition of success. But the RTC is definitely a little more focused on the wrestling, because we want to, when you're coming into that room, you're going to get unbelievable coaching from Coach King, from other guys that we can bring in. You're going to get fantastic partners from the area. And the objective there is we're hoping to develop guys that are making world teams, women that are making world teams and competing for Olympic spots down the road. So it's not a pressure thing, I don't think. It's more excitement and fun. It's definitely fun.
It is exciting. And I think something that's really integral and a part of just continuing to grow the sport of wrestling is growing female wrestling as well, and letting these young ladies know that they also have an opportunity to be professionals in this sport. I mean, look at how Tamara Mensah is changing the game, and how the exposure at the Olympic level, like what she just did. And now maybe even more so in the state of Pennsylvania, we're really always pushing, sanction this stuff, make it possible. And adding these RTCs, I think, just helps that case even further, that look, now they even have a place outside of just college and high school. Like, they can now strive for these goals and to be the next Tamara Mensah or the next Helen. Like, where do you see the longevity of this going in terms of welcoming females on a higher status to the sport?
So we actually have a middle school female athlete. She placed second, I think, in folk style states, but she wrestled Greco-Roman and freestyle this summer, was a freestyle state champion and a runner-up in Greco-Roman, Joe Dahlman. So she's going to be able to be RTC eligible here in about a year or two when she gets that U16 status. So now, like you said, we got to grow the sport somehow. So now we have to start finding women to come in and start training with Joe, so Joe can get to that level. So maybe she is the next Tamira, Jakara, Helen. That's exciting too, because women's wrestling is doing great things for men's wrestling as well, especially at the collegiate level with new programs. So it's exciting that we have some female athletes wrestling in Norwin, but we obviously want that number to grow. And that's on us too. We have to recruit the women in Norwin and get them hooked into wrestling, and then hopefully in the region we can start bringing some of the female athletes in to train with our athletes and develop them as well.
Yeah, I think that's phenomenal. And I also think Kiski down the road from you guys has some female hammers as well. We've seen on some of the cards. So really exciting to know where that could go from a female perspective as well. I'm always rooting for that side of things and to expose more young men at the high school level. If they maybe look and see, hey, the Knights RTC, after our high school wrestling practice, all these incredible females came in and were dominating. Like, all right, let's go. This is a very inclusive environment to be a part of as well. Makes it more fun for everyone. But I'm really curious, when you released this, there had to have been a really awesome response from just people in the wrestling community, but from athletes in general. What have been some of the responses that you both have gotten from people? Has anyone reached out and showed interest? Have people wanted to donate? Have athletes wanted to join? What's been the initial responses from everyone? Jarrod, maybe you can start.
Yeah. And I mean, you've been around the wrestling community all your life, so you know how close knit it is. And I think that's one of the neatest things always when something like this, that we release that information and some of the names from back in our youth days of wrestling that, oh my goodness, that's awesome. We want to be a part of that. That's great. You guys are doing that. If you have an opportunity, let us know when things are going on. So that's pretty awesome just to see the excitement from people that we've been around all of our lives, and people who have had impression on us over our lives that are saying, hey, you guys are doing a great job moving this forward for kids in your area. So I think that's the biggest thing, the take home for me, that okay, we're doing a good thing here. We have our minds in the right direction here, and we're heading the right way. So
yeah. And Kyle, for you, I know you're really involved right now in the freestyle Greco world. Like, what has been the response from people that you've encountered in the past few days about this, but in your lifetime of the sport? Have people been reaching out just seeing this, like, hey, Kyle, you got something really cool here?
Yeah, and it's neat. Pennsylvania wrestling is like a family. Like Coach said, just the wrestling community is great, but being on the Pennsylvania board and involved with our state's freestyle Greco, everything has been super positive about it. And obviously there's obviously risk involved in every decision or initiative that you make, but I don't think we're afraid of that at all. We're actually just like, hey, we're going to give this a try. We're going to run with it and see what happens. And I think everybody's mindset is the same, and we're all kind of driven to that same goal. And I think success is going to happen. And like Jarrod said, when you get the feedback that we've gotten immediately from it, it makes you feel good about your decision making, because you're doing it for the right reasons, and you're set on a path that is positive. So everything's been super exciting so far. Positive feedback and everything. It's been pretty cool.
So if people would like to be able to donate, be able to sponsor the RTC, if athletes want to join, can you please tell them a little bit more about where they can go to find out more about this, how they can help support the club or the training center, and how possibly they can join? Go ahead and give your pitch there on where you can find yourself on social media and the different types of links I know that you have out already to talk about it.
I'll hit on that, and then Jarrod can sell himself, because that's the big selling point for me. Jarrod King's involved. You got to be there. But norwinwrestling.com, and then you'll see the RTC tab. We actually have a Rudis store right now for gear. Mason Beckman hooked us up with a fantastic store for some gear. You guys can go and check that out. But getting a hold of us anyway, that site's probably the hub. You can see all of our social media accounts linked there. You can email us through that as well. So that would be the easiest way to get a hold of us. And it doesn't always have to be donating. You can be involved in a multitude of ways. And we're very open to have anybody involved with the Knights RTC. We just want it to be a welcoming environment for athletes, for coaches, for college athletes, for athletes that are looking to develop into a world team or an Olympic team down the road. So norwinwrestling.com, and then just get a hold of us. We want to work with everybody.
I love that. Jarrod, your 2 cents on anybody looking to reach out, encouragement for having people reach out would be?
Yeah, absolutely. And like we've talked about the whole time is, hey, we're here for the athletes. So get involved. We're going to have some hammers in there. We got some of our own hammers at Norwin. The kids are doing great. As we said, they made it possible where they competed at a high level where we're able to be RTC eligible before we thought we would be. So they're going to be there. We got guys from the area that have been dropping into the room prior to this. And we expect that we'll continue to have people coming in, and we're hoping to get a good lineup of some other coaches coming in and giving their 2 cents as well. So, hey, if you like wrestling, you like to have fun while you're doing it, it's the place to be.
There we go. You like wrestling, you like to have fun, come aboard, right?
That's right. Place to go.
I also saw that they will have a TikTok coming soon as well for all of our TikTok lovers out there. Excited to see what that could be, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's going to be good stuff. Coach Gang has some fantastic dance moves.
I was going to say, Kyle's been practicing all of his dance moves at the end of every practice. So,
all right,
when you're very good, you don't have to practice that much when it comes to dancing. So I'll be all right.
Hey, I'd love to see it. We'll love to be tuned in. Guys, thank you for helping grow the sport of wrestling and taking this chance, because more than anything, everyone's going to be watching to see, is this possible? Can it happen? And what opportunities does it provide? I think the limits are endless. And everyone in the wrestling community is just as excited as I am. So best of luck to you. And hopefully I will see you maybe at your Knights RTC event in the future.
Sounds good. Thanks for everything you do for the sport. You're awesome.
Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you.
Just thank you to all the people, all the supporters, all the boosters, the parents, the kids, because that's where it all starts. That's what gives us this opportunity to talk to you right now. So can't thank them enough.
Absolutely. Thank you to everyone in the wrestling world for your consistent support. Hopefully Westmoreland Sportsnet will be out there covering some Norwin Knights home or away matches this year. Hopefully. I mean, we love to see it, love to be there. Westmoreland Sportsnet will hopefully provide a lot of wrestling coverage this year. We love meeting people in the community and are excited to follow what the Knights RTC has in store. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for joining me today, and best of luck to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.